Oh, yeah, we're listening to Steve Crenshaw. Put your hands together. Jeff St. Andrew on the bass. Paul Hurd on the drums. Oh, yeah, I want to thank everybody for being here in the studio audience for Blue Roots Television. Blue Roots TV, Blue Roots Denver Television is Denver's own blues, jazz, funk, and soul television show. And it's in the spirit of, playing on the street corner, opening your case, just taking the music to the people. So we're trying to find the people out there. There's a lot of people that need this music or will enjoy it on a dance or maybe it'll change their life. Young people, old people, we know you're out there. So that's, our mission is to reach people with this music. And that's all we're really trying to do. I remember this gentleman, Steve Crenshaw from CD Bars on 72nd and Federal. Man, he was playing the hell out of Stevie Ray Vaughan. Here, let me give you the guest mic, sir. Just in case it's different. I don't know if it is.
The right angle, so I got to stand over here.
Yeah, okay. All good.
Do this so they can
around
hear
the
too.
corner so nobody
Yes,
can
exactly.
see you coming.
Yeah, solo, right?
Wow. So, how did you get into music? Did someone in your family play music, or how did you find music in your life? You can just talk on this one.
Okay, can you hear that? Okay. My mom had bought my dad a Hondo acoustic, right? So they were going through a divorce.
Over here a little bit.
They were going through a divorce, and the acoustic was in the den, right? So I was like 5, right? And so I'd go in there and make little songs out of the E string, the A string, and doom 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 doom.
Tequila.
And and they'd be screaming or whatever they're going through, So the guitar kind of raised me through that period. And I didn't know shit about it. And can I say that?
Yeah, you can.
My good buddy wanted to take some lessons. We're cable access, yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah, Wayne's World, right? So, anyways, yeah. My buddy Jason Pepe wanted to take some lessons. And he took it for like a month, right? He was 5, I was 5. And we learned like Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley, and songs like that. He quit. I kept going with it, but I didn't take lessons again until 12. So in that time, I just kind of got as far as I can go. And then I learned, I did some lessons when I was like 12.
You lived in California then?
Yeah, Northern California, yeah. This was in Redwood City that I was 12.
I used to catch the train through there.
Caltrain, yeah. Yeah, I slept on there many a night. You can sleep from San Jose to San Francisco and they wake your ass up when you...
I've been on that trip.
Yeah, I've been on that train, man, yeah. Yeah, it's $3, but cheaper in a hotel, right?
It was more when I lived there.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so Jason went on to be like in, I went on with his life, and I just stuck with the guitar. About at 12, I took another month with lessons, and I did like Stairway to Heaven and, what else? Maybe 1 or 2 other tunes. Oh, like The Entertainer. Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
Learned that, and then I was on my own for another year, and then I was mowing the lawn, believe it or not. And back then I really didn't care about the neighbors. So I was kind of rebel without a car. And we had these, my dad had these tall speakers we got at Finger Hut, right? They came with those towels that would expel water rather than pick it up. And so these tall towers, I'd bring them outside and I'd just blast the stereo, right? And I'd mow the lawn so I could hear it over. It was my headphones.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, nowadays, right? So I could hear it over the mower. So I'm pissing the neighbors off, and I hear Tightrope, right? By Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm like, I hear the solo on that, and I'm just like, now I'd already been turned on to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I already had mixtapes of him from my buddy Nate, who was an audiophile and just had all this stuff for me. So, but then when I heard Stevie's solo on that, I was like, man, that's what I want. I want that sound, And when before that, when I had heard his sound, I thought it was so dark, and it was nasty sounding. It was like when I heard, I think it was King Bee, is the first song I had on a mixtape. It was because he tuned down a half step, so it was really dark sounding to me. I don't know if anybody experienced that with certain tones, but now I love flat keys. But back then I was kind of like, that's just a little weird, I loved Hendrix and I loved all that stuff, but I just really noticed it with King Bee. So anyways, fast forward, I hear this song and I'm like, oh, I Got to have it all, right? And then at the time I was playing harmonica. A lot of people don't know that, but I was
Played harps.
A couple years. I'm in a group home in Santa Cruz, California. They're filming Lost Boys, right? So I'm playing on the street the year before the Loma Prieta earthquake. I'm out there with my harmonica. I would play open slide, and that's how I made my living.
Wow.
And
how old were you then?
that was about 16. I was
So
in a
you
group
played
home.
on the street.
Yeah, and I was in a group home, so I won't get into all the details how all that happened, but this is so everybody in my high school, Loma Prieta High School, was in Lost Boys. Everybody on the street, even those skinheads at the beginning of the movie with the mohawk.
Wow.
Those guys were guys that would hang out on the mall, right? So everybody had their little bowling jackets at school and stuff, I wasn't in the movie. I'm just giving you the time and place that where it happened. Santa Cruz was Santa Maria in the movie, and that I got a lot of knowledge from there because I'm learning from street musicians from Berkeley, from everywhere in the world.
There's some great players around that area,
players.
man.
There's Stevie Ray said it once in an interview. There's better players on the street sometimes than in the clubs.
It's amazing.
And, yeah, they're amazing. So, next question. Yeah, I don't think you even asked that, but.
Well, whatever. All we wanted to do is get you talking, and you've got
No,
great
that's
stories.
not, that's not hard.
No, that's good stuff. You said great street musicians. I went in the library in San Francisco to get some music one time from the library, and there was a guy with his cat he was living on the street there in front of the library with his cat in a thing. I was buying him a hamburger. It looked like he had a bag of garbage, and he had a $800 Martin backpacking guitar in there.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy played like all of this jazz and finger picking and Appalachian music, and I was like, wow, this guy could be my teacher. But you never know who's playing on the street, huh?
There was a guy named Cheddar that so we'd cut school and we'd do our acid and go to the park, right?
Wow.
And there was
you can't say that on TV.
I can't. Well,
I'm just kidding.
Didn't. Yeah, well, it wasn't me. I'd watch people do it. Anyways, so Cheddar was he was a Vietnam vet, okay? Little guy, red face, always have his little backpack in the park with his beer and stuff, and the guy could play country harp like anybody, right? Yeah. Blues harp, and like he'd take one breath and go and just be so fast. And at the time, I was really into harmonica, so I was like, but I was smoking, so I was like, I couldn't get the circular breathing thing down, right? So Cheddar had won the San Francisco Blues Festival 3 years in a row, harmonica contest, and so he would teach me stuff, and we get so far, and then I just went more back to the guitar, right? And I'll tell you about a guy that plays on the street in San Francisco. I don't know what happened to this guy, but I was walking into that blues festival one time, and there was a guy outside who was killing it. He had a satchel with 50s and 20s, like the doctors used to carry, the round top.
Sure.
And it was just stuffed with money. And this guy had no hand.
Wow.
And he had like the old tennis wristbands you'd wear for sweatbands, and he had a slide, sewn into that thing. And he was playing a little homemade Flying V guitar. And this guy was so awesome.
Nothing stopped him, did it?
Nothing stopped him, yeah. And he probably took that, put it in his Mercedes, and went away, He probably wasn't just like,
You never know.
A lot of people think that you're homeless if you're playing on the street. You have experience with this.
Yeah.
So I've known James a lot of years. Used to see him busking all the time. And busking means that you're playing on the street.
Yeah.
And I remember
That's how I found music.
Running into you and going, man, get your butt into the clubs. Get off the corner and get in there and do your thing. And ever since, I don't take claim for that.
Sure.
But ever since that day that I saw you, I was delivering goods to the Ocean Air, remember? I saw you on the corner.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, I had a delivery company. Anyways, and I was like, man, you could be playing all the clubs I'm playing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did. Not only does he keeps me busy with the gigs he gives me, so I'm thankful for that, So very thankful for that.
Well, we got to work together. We got to stick together.
Absolutely.
Music is family, huh?
And believe in each other. You know what I mean? Exactly. So
we do.
I don't want to tear up. Not going to make me cry. Right?
Where's my beer? But, okay, so when you were living in San Francisco and playing, that was till like what age? Maybe 15, 16? How old were you?
I left home when I was, so it was right around 13.
You were very young.
Yeah, I was like, went to this.
How did you get to Colorado, or what happened
I went to the
between
group homes,
then?
and then I came back, right? And then, so there's this period between 16 and 18 where I'm just kind of
when you say came back, where?
To my folks' home.
Oh, I see.
Right, and then.
When I saw you in LaGuardia is on North Federal, what, you was like 18? 20?
19 and when I moved
Because
here.
we're about the same age, right?
Yeah,
I'm 43.
long hair down here. Like
I'm
yours,
43.
Yeah,
How
I'm
old are you?
46. So
So you're a little older than me.
this many. Do we have any more time for this?
No.
It's going to go on for like. So yeah, LaGuardia's. Geez, that was when I first got here. The bar at 72nd and Federal, Denver, and we had the band was Underground Railroad. I met my
remember
singer in San Mateo. Okay, so I was 19. We had lived through the Loma Prieta earthquake, and everybody would hang out, in the park after the earthquake. So disasters are like that. They kind of bring people together, and you can't be in your apartments because gas and electrical, problems. So everybody's camping out in the park, hanging out at Denny's like we always did. And I run into Greg Ferguson, who was writing a song, right? And I walked by his table, and I was like, hey, what are you, songwriter or something? And, we started a conversation, and before you know it, he's got his parents lived here, and they lived there, so they would move back and forth. And he had a situation for us to move out here, and that's what we did.
Huh.
And then we started Underground Railroad. I met Jeff around that time, moving here. And good Lord, there was a killer scene in Denver, man, when we started. Man, what a scene it was.
There were so many more
There
places.
was nothing going on in California, believe it or not. Nothing.
There were
Still.
so many more places in Denver. Seemed
it was
like.
just
I mean, there's a
awesome.
lot of places now, but it's not the same as it was.
No,
like
no,
Josephina's and Soapy Smith's and Wazzy
absolutely.
Supper Club,
Cricket on the Hill.
Cricket on the Hill.
Okoboji's. Remember Okoboji's?
Wow, I remember that.
Yeah,
sort
I
of.
mean, Brendan's. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
Brendan's.
Yeah.
That's
Brendan's,
where
I mean,
that's where
that's-
I found music was playing in front of Brendan's.
Yeah, that was my home turf. In fact, Gino was my manager when I did a Harley Davidson video in Milwaukee, and I took him as my manager.
Wow.
Because he can manage Brendan's, right? If you can manage Brendan's.
So you started playing in. I remember I saw you going into Josephina's one night, and I was sitting at the market. I've been sitting at that coffee shop down there forever, and you were going in there with you were playing with the Groove Hogs or something.
Well, I had the Groove Hogs, but I don't think we played there. Did we ever play there?
I don't know. I saw you
small
loading into a place on there. Maybe it was Basins Up or
It
something.
was probably Josephina's, but there was that one at the end, just on the if you turn the corner from Crimson Room now.
Soapy Smith's.
Smith's, but I only played there one time.
Well, I just saw you guys loading. I thought you were going to Josephina's.
Well,
but
there was
when
a
you
couple
was
times I
playing
was
in
stealing
that
stuff
band,
out of there, so.
it seemed like
Could have been that.
everywhere I looked, I was seeing your name, and you were getting pretty big. You know what I'm saying?
Well, at that time I had the radio station behind me, and so it was on the radio a lot. And people, back then, people would actually notice you or recognize you, or I couldn't walk anywhere without being like in a supermarket and being recognized, even for being on the radio. And now it's just not that way.
It's different now, isn't it?
It's weird,
With
like
the internet, maybe.
Without a kind of presence, with video presence or some kind of picture of you, people won't know that.
I think that's important.
It
I don't
is.
think people are going to pay attention unless we get it on their television.
Well,
and
with
this
the
is
phones
hopefully,
now,
hopefully this is a step towards getting on their phone.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yeah. How did you meet Jeff?
I caught Jeff coming out of the wife's bedroom. But no, just kidding. I have
This
like
guy.
an elk and a deer, and there's like a half naked guy on a plaque. Anyways, I'm kidding. No, Jeff. Do you remember where exactly we
Come
met?
up here, Jeff. Can we give him this mic, Ed, please,
We
sir?
can go back and forth there.
Okay, that's cool. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Again, thanks for playing today.
I think the first time we met was probably at a jam night, maybe over on 13th.
Oh, when we were doing the 13th Avenue Grill.
13th Avenue Grill, and I had been playing with Emilio and Sundance and a few people around town.
What was it? Annette, or was it?
Somebody's sister with Annette and Doug Conlon. A lot of Cricket on the Hill. When I first came out here from Oakland, California, it was I kind of
Oaktown.
Yeah, he's from Oakland, and I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah,
We
so
didn't know each other.
then we met out here,
Yeah.
and it was kind of nice to gravitate to.
Raiders and 49ers.
No, yeah. And that's how we met, and we started playing a lot of places like Jam and Joe's and just the regular old Ziggy's, which is gone now.
You moved here from Oakland?
Yeah.
When did you move to Denver?
I think it was 1990.
When did you first start playing music, Jeff? Did you start on bass or?
I kind of started on everything, playing piano in
Okay.
elementary school and first grade, and
Sure.
Guitar. Bought my first guitar when I was 6, so first grade.
Oh, wow.
And played guitar for many years, and nobody could play bass, and I was a pretty good guitar player, but they made me sacrifice because they were scared. The heavy metal. In the heavy metal scene in the 80s, that's where I was flourishing. I was playing a lot of band Virgin Mary and another band, Omega.
How did you get into music? Was there music was someone in your family, or how did you discover music in your
I was
life?
just drawn to music and instruments, and there was a lot of exposure in the school district in the Bay Area. There was a lot of diversity in music in the Bay Area at the time, so I was kind of exposed to that. And then later on, came to Denver to play with Emilio, who's my uncle.
I know Emilio.
And,
you guys look like brothers.
Yeah, we do. That's my mom's younger brother, and he, was pretty much, 100% all music, and still is. And
Yeah, when I came here, here's the funny thing about that. I was welding. Okay?
you could have it.
Yeah, no, stay up here. And I was welding. Okay, I came in here and I couldn't afford shoes, and I was like, any job I can get, right? I was living downtown in a little apartment with roaches, and so that was after we, I moved to Littleton first with Greg, and then we dispersed, went our separate ways, and started making it on my own, And then so I went and saw Emilio at Cricket on the Hill, and those guys were so fun. Emilio would play the guitar. He had the big Stevie Ray kind of tone, had killer vintage amps, everything you'd want, and then he'd throw it back and play timbales. And if you couldn't get laid at one of Emilio's shows, you can't get laid. So,
That's the key thing.
It was fun. It was a fun time to be in Denver, right? And then Emilio actually told me, he goes, "Oh yeah, come, you can join my band, right?" I got so excited, and I was like, up at like 5 a.m. with holes in my shoes on a rebar bending machine on Santa Fe, bending footers for concrete. And I thought I was going to be in this band. I was like, and then he just kind of like, "Oh, I didn't tell you that," and I'm like, "Ah." And I don't know if it happened like that. I just remember I thought I was going to be, and then disappointment, right? Yeah,
sure.
Like prom night, yes.
Yeah.
So, well, what are you guys laughing about? You guys had the same, okay, same thing, huh? So yeah, and then so that gave me the motivation, because at that time Underground Railroad was kind of going different ways, and it was like, I thought I was going to go do this thing, and it just didn't happen. So I started my own band. Greg went his way. We just kind of grew apart, and
It's a blessing
went
in
to singing.
disguise.
Yeah.
We always stayed a big family, though.
Oh, we still.
We still are a big family. I mean, we've all traded up in the train wreckers and, the haunted garage. If you remember back in those days, Bob Rupp. And I mean, I think everybody who was around in that time in the 80s through the early 90s in Denver, we're all still one big family. And we can go and play with whoever anytime, like you called me yesterday.
That's cool. We sure are glad to have you guys here to be a part of our show.
Yeah,
And I appreciate getting a chance to talk to you a little bit too.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to have you guys on the show. I don't know if you feel like playing some more music.
I do. I like before we close
talk to me.
This portion of it. Right now, my main goal with what we're doing is to get a fork out and go to Europe and just like and just make my way to the front line and just kind of with a guitar, with a CD, with some representation, somebody to go with me.
Maybe a DVD.
And maybe and a DVD maybe, and just something to get our foot in the game out there. And so I've got a lot of support in this room, and including Mr. Mike Rogers. Mike, you want to come over for a second? And this is Mike Rogers. He owns Fox Run Studios in Divide, Colorado, right where Florissant is, and the end of the world
Do you want to talk
is right there. So,
you guys talk for a minute.
absolutely.
Maybe 3 minutes?
You got it. You got it. So, so me and Mike go back a number of years, and he's got a wonderful studio up there. He's got a stocked trout lake. I'm in my own 90-foot camper.
Everybody likes to talk about the fish.
I love this place, man. Christine's got goats and a horse and ducks, and there's deer out there, and it was hunting season. I couldn't do anything about it, but it was like, hi deer, and they're like right outside the camper. But this is a wonderful place, and I'm up there. We're just trying to get 5 strong songs to take, and Mike's been helping with that. You want to tell them a little bit about your studio?
Thanks for having me down
Sure,
here,
man.
Steve. I really appreciate it. I've been spending quite a bit of time with Steve here lately. Thank you. Yeah, we've got a 7-acre property down there. It's kind of a retreat. It's a little bit different than kind of dropping into a studio in and out. Most people that come down stay for a while. Steve has had several trips down there where he'll spend 4 or 5 days down there, whatnot, and just kind of enjoy the atmosphere of what it is, and kind of releases things for songwriting. So it's one of the things that we offer down there at Fox Run's recording studio. We've got quite a bit of modern gear, digital and analog gear. So we're recording on 2-inch analog 24-track machines as well for the
gearheads, right? Yeah.
Some people don't quite do that. We're also recording on on Apollo interfaces
And
into
Pro
Pro
Tools,
Tools
yeah.
and the full setup out there, and quite a bit of instruments at disposal. So
Wait, how many guitars you got in that place?
I lost count, about 26, I think.
Yeah, and I left my super reverb up there just so we had an extra
actually,
amp.
yeah, his amp is still sitting up there, and quite a bit of options that are up there. But it's just a nice retreat, and we've been so blessed to have so many people come up and enjoy it with us, and let me live my dream a little bit, you know, which it's taken me a number of years to get there and whatnot. And this last year, we're also opening up an online store too for equipment. We've stocked over 800 products on there as of right now, and growing every day. So you can check all that out at foxrunrecordingstudio.com, and you can also find it from foxrunaudio.com. We'll take you
That's
right
right.
there,
I've got the first order in for a little pocket thing. I haven't done that yet because I got to get you on the phone. We're gonna do it together and watch the first purchase go through. But this is all brand new. I mean, a lot of time in the making. But what we've been able to do is, like, you know, I go up there and I'm kind of his guinea pig on some new gear and stuff, and I'm writing songs up there. I'm using the studio to write, which is kind of different from what you're used to, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm making him give me drum beats like a rapper, you know. Give me this beat, and then we only write a section at a time, you know. So it's not like this big dreamed out thing. It's like, I know what the dream is, but there's only one section at a time.
It's a little different approach too.
Yeah.
You know, we don't just take polished, ready material and bands and artists and come into the studio and say, okay, we're ready to record. We also offer daily rates and also weekly rates as well. So when you come up, you're just relaxed. Let's get some things done and just be at your pace. And we're there at your disposal. And we're there. So
Right on, Mike. Thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Steve,
having me
I
up at the studio.
appreciate you having here.
Appreciate it.
It's Fox Run Recording Studio.
You guys
It's
have
in
some
Divide.
extra fishing poles up there.
We do, and we have plenty of
Catch and
spots
release,
out
though. They
right
are
up
his
there.
pets, so let's catch and
I
release.
gotta come up there and see
Absolutely.
you guys sometime.
I'm
Thank
not
you so
kidding.
much. It's a pleasure to have
Between
you.
songs, I was catching trout this big. I'm not kidding.
Woo!
They're like 23 to 24 inch.
Well, you got to sell me one.
Yes. No, like they're his pets, so we
Oh,
throw
I
them
see.
back.
They're
you know?
pets now.
Yeah, we feed them, and it's just fun. It's like
Catch
you walk
and release.
50 feet.
Man, you're making
catch
me
a
hungry
trout,
for five
and then you go
five
back
fish.
and finish your song. It's like, you know. And Christine's a wonderful. Mike's wife is a wonderful host. You know, you should see this lady in the morning. She gets up. She's got her overalls on. She's out there with the horses, the ducks, and everything, and she takes care of everything. And she really helps Mike out a lot. You know, where he's in the gear stuff, trying
Sounds
to get this
down
stuff
home.
going. It's just a great place. So
Yeah.
and great people. So.
Hey, Steve Crenshaw, y'all. We're talking to here. I want to thank everybody for being here in the audience and tuning into Blue Roots Denver Television, Denver's own blues, jazz, funk, and soul television show. We're just trying to take the music to the people, and I'm your host, James Spicer. We want to call up Mr. Hurd and Jeff to the stage and have a few more songs, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Well, give me back my mojo. You just can't sleep away from me. Well, give me back my mojo. I will set you free.